put our last hope in this mission we have codenamed Career Quest.
Alex and Samantha, watch out for Vexor.
Hi, Samantha's catching us.
Not again.
Yes, again.
Of course, the top people would complain.
Guys, hurry up.
What's the big rush? It isn't like he can do anything about it.
We're coming.
I don't have a lot of energy. How'd you get here?
Easy, very easy. Now hurry up and get back to the club.
Does that bother you guys as much as it bothers me?
I heard that.
I'm thinking brain implants. So what is our mission, Michael? Hopefully that's Terry. That's the least you can do for invading our brain.
I did not invade your brain. It was an operation for time travel. Now be quiet before I accelerate you to your appropriate time. 54 for this time.
You can't.
Try me.
I believe you're going to tell us the mission, Michael.
Your mission is going to be in 2 parts. First, you're going to interview your teachers. Then you're going to try out for a basketball team.
Not basketball again.
Yes, basketball. We believe some Vector is hiding at someone on the team.
Oh, basketball?
This will be our chance to get the upper hand. But first we go to the teachers.
Morphotron, activate.
Energize.
Hello, I'm Brittany Reed. And I'm Allison Johnson. And we'd like to talk to you about
Being a teacher.
Yeah, it's like being a teacher.
Oh, fine. Well, would you like to have a seat?
Okay.
I'll move over to here.
What's the best part about being a teacher?
Well, you know, this is my 26th year, and being a teacher is a lot of responsibility, but it's also very rewarding. For instance, I get to see kids come back and they tell me how great an impression I made on them and things that we did they found very important as they grew older. And, you know, I give lots of lectures. And so they were telling me that the lectures helped them. So I feel really good about that when kids come back and let me know that I did make a difference in their life in some little way. You know, it's just, you can do well in math, you can do well in science, and lets me know that I am reaching them. So I thought that was a very important part about teaching.
What's the worst part about your job?
I think the worst part is having to check papers, and it's really time consuming because you have to check them so that you treat everybody fairly and have what we call a rubric, or something that we're judging you by on each thing that you do. And then trying to provide for individual differences in some way or another when you give lessons to kids, because some kids are faster at doing their work and catching on and some are not as fast. So that's always a headache. Am I reaching this kid, and am I doing the kind of activity that that child can learn from? And I'm interested in them learning the things that I teach, because I think they're going to need it as they get older and as they move on in the grades, like for 5th grade.
Did you ever have a kid that was doing really, really well and had to move up a grade or something?
No, I really have not had anyone that moved up a grade, because this is supposed to be a specialty program, a challenge program. So we're supposed to be able to provide for kids who do really well, as well as those who have to work a little bit harder.
Can you show us some of the stuff that you use every day?
Okay, I can show you, give you an idea of some of the stuff we use. Right now we are working on Unit C in the book, and that's on electricity and physics. And we've been working with circuits, making simple circuits or series circuits, and making compound or complex circuits. We will be moving into things with light. That's why I have the flashlights out here. Lights and mirrors, and how light bounces off, and what kind of things light pass through, and so on. And so those are some of the things in science. There's some more of my science equipment that we use. And computers, we use those off and on, not as much as we'd like to, as I'd like to. There are microscopes in the window. I use those. And I haven't used those a lot, because I have some different ones. This is our math book we use, one of them. It's called Exploring Mathematics, and in our program we work a grade level above in math. And let me show you a copy of our science book. And this is actually the 4th grade science book, and this is one we're currently working out of. As you probably know if you've been around in our classroom, if you visited our classroom, have been around. This is it's a very good book, and it's like the 3rd year we've used it, so it's relatively new. And I like the program. I think it's very good.
What would be some advice that you would have for new teachers?
New teachers need to come in with the idea, even though they've gotten their bachelor's degree in education, they need to know that they still have a lot to learn as far as teaching, and as far as learning about the things that they have to teach. And they have to learn how to teach them. Even if you know them very well, you still have to practice and be well prepared for your classes when they come in, so that you will be knowledgeable about what to teach and how to teach, because you don't learn that in college.
Hello, I'm Brittany Reed, and I'd like to interview you about being a teacher.
Okay.
What's it like to be a teacher?
Seriously?
Yeah.
It's fun some days, and some days it's awful. Some days I regret it. But most days it's pretty cool.
What's fun about being a teacher?
The best thing about being a teacher is when a child really understands something, and you see that little light bulb go off in their head and they're ready for more information.
What's the worst part about being a teacher?
The worst part is when you have to make a child want to learn something, when it's like you're forcing it down their throat and they don't really want to be here.
What do you do on the average day?
Usually I come in the morning and I check my lesson plans, which are here. And this is half the day, and I try to figure out what I need to do for the day. And then I check on my pets over there. And I found out this morning that our fish died, so our fish tank is empty. So I threw the fish away. And I make sure the hermit crabs don't escape.
Ooh, hermit crabs?
Yep.
Hermit crabs?
Yep. Here's one.
My mommy's gonna buy me a hermit crab.
He's friendly. The yellow one doesn't like to come out. I think he's antisocial.
I have a book about hermit crabs like this. My mommy bought it from me from Alabama.
And we have Mrs. Cooper's tarantula, Harrietta. We make sure Harrietta hasn't escaped in the night. Then I have to put my board work up so the kids know what they do when they come in first thing in the morning. And then I go run whatever copies I need for the day. Then I go through my cabinet and pull out whatever I need, if it's books or pencils or crayons or anything that I need for the day. And by then, then I go talk to some teachers, because I need some adult conversation before the kids actually get here. So I go and talk to the other teachers, and I be loud and obnoxious. Then the bell rings at about 8:30. I stand over by the door and the kids are here. And then I sit down rarely, which means the kids are always here and they always want something from me. And I give hugs, and I listen to what happened the night before, and I fuss, and I teach.
How much do you get paid?
Not enough. I have been working 8 years, and I make about $40,000.
Does every teacher make $40,000?
No, they don't. The pay scale starts out with, it's in steps, and so when you first come in, you have the base salary. And then as you take more classes and either earn your master's or your doctorate degree, you travel up the pay scale, and the longer you've been teaching, that also increases your pay. So I have my master's plus 15, and I've been working for 8 years.
What do you use the computers for?
Well, the computers that we have are two kinds. This kind that we have here, the students can log on and practice reading skills and math skills and different programs that we have entered into the library. And then the computer farther over there is internet accessible, so the kids can get on and do individualized research on whatever topic they are interested in. On our messy table over here, we've been doing some research, and they had to make a product showing what they've learned or something to do with their topic. And so we have one little girl who did a model of a butterfly because she was studying butterflies. Another little girl, for some reason, wanted to know about applesauce. So her project is a refrigerator and the applesauce that goes in the refrigerator. So they're pretty much allowed to express themselves with all kinds of junk and materials. So we recycle a lot of stuff.
Do they teach you how to make the projects in school?
No. A lot of college courses are just the basics, who did what, when they did it. They don't actually teach you a lot of practical, let me rephrase that. They didn't teach me a lot of practical uses for my classroom, and I had to wing it for a couple of years. And then I had to find my personal style. I don't mind mess for a little while so they can be creative and express themselves, but after a while, enough is enough, and we got to clean up, and everything has to go home.
What's the biggest problem in the classroom, and how do you handle it?
My biggest problem in the classroom. The biggest problem that I have as a teacher is not being able to cover everything that I want to cover. There's not enough time in the day for me to do what I want to do. And so I have to figure out a way to implement everything together so that I'm teaching what I need to teach and I'm not boring my kids to death. The biggest problem other than that is disciplining a child so that I teach them what's right without smashing their creativity or their will to be here.
Can you show me some of the tools you use?
I did it again. Some of the tools that I use. Well, I use the chalkboard, of course. A lot of times, when I'm not using the chalkboard, I have to use my overhead projector. And when I write on the transparencies, it allows the children to see what I'm doing here, and I can watch the students, but they can look behind me and see what's on the board. And you have to use your special water-based pen to write on the overheads. We've been talking about geometry shapes. A lot of the other things that we use are everyday materials. Today, when we did shapes, we used plain old pieces of paper, and they had to cut and rip pieces of paper to make polygon shapes. The other thing we use is everyday items, like this map was actually a shower curtain, found on sale at Myers. So teachers have to use a lot of things that we just happen to run across, like the map, shower, or lots of paper items, and ancient globes that our public school system provides for us. The other thing we use would be tape recorders up here. And listening centers so that the children can listen to stories as they read along, so that helps to improve their reading. And we have a keyboard, and of course it has the same thing as a listening center so that we don't have to listen to what the children are creating until they're ready to share it. Wow. And of course we always have our television and VCR for the all-important videotapes about whatever subject we can find information about. And then there's always the copy machine and the ditto machines. Well, you have to be sure you want to be a teacher. If you're not sure, then you definitely better make some other plans, because it's not easy if you don't want to be here. And you have to be ready to stand up a lot, and walk a lot, and babysit. And give out Band-Aids, so you're a nurse, a doctor, and a psychologist, and a part-time mommy. And the library is this way. The copy machine is something that we have to use a lot as far as making sure we have materials for all the kids. When we get to the copy machine, we have a special code that we use to keep track of how many copies we make. You have to enter your code and then enter the number of copies that you want. After you make your copies, you have to make sure to clear your code so you're not giving somebody else your copies, because you will need them later on. We get about 500 copies every half a year or so. And then after you make your one copy here, you need to use the thermofax machine and the ditto machine to make blue line copies for your students.
Oh yeah. Well, what kind of training do you have to be a teacher?
I graduated 8-9 years ago, and when I graduated from Eastern, it was a 4.5-year program, and you had to take 2 years of basic studies, which was just general math and science and history and reading, and then you had to take 2 years of content, which was supposed to teach you how to teach math and science and social studies, and you had to decide what your major was going to be, and I chose minors of science, social studies, and content, which is how to be a teacher. And then you had to do a half a year of student teaching in someone else's classroom. And that was pretty fun.
Being a sub.
Right. Being a sub, but your advisor is still there watching over you and showing you what you should be doing and how you can do it better.
Oh.
And then eventually they trust you with their classroom enough to leave you with the kids. Then you're a sub. Then you find out whether or not you truly want to teach, because they're yours all day, every day, and you have to deal with the discipline, and you have to deal with the lesson plans, and you have to deal with the parents. So it's a lot different than just being a sub. A sub can walk in and walk out and forget about it, but when they're your responsibility, it's a lot different. Now, colleges ask that you have about a year of student teaching for most universities, which makes money for them, and it better equips you to prepare a classroom and to end the school year.
Is it the same teaching at an elementary school and a high school?
No. In order to teach in high school, you usually have to have a specific major, and you can only teach in your major. Elementary, you have a broad range of topics because you end up teaching almost everything, and you also have to know about the development of a child, what's expected of them at certain ages and the stages that they go through. If they go through their baby stage, if they go through learning to read at an early age versus kids who are right on track with their learning.
Do you have any advice for somebody who wants to be a teacher?
Any advice for someone who wants to be a teacher? You need to visit classrooms with a range of teachers and in a range of areas. You need to be certain you know what you're going into. Teachers have a lot of responsibility that they don't tell you about in college, and you don't know until you've paid your money, graduated, and start your own classroom. So you need to be sure that's what you want to do.
What did you say?
There's an old saying that teachers shouldn't smile until October and November in their classroom, because they say that it sets the tone for the children being responsible and learning. I disagree with that because I'm crazy by nature. And if I had to wait until November to smile, I'd be miserable. It depends on how you handle your classroom. I handle my classroom with humor. And it takes a while for my little ones to learn my sense of humor, but once they know when I'm serious, it doesn't matter if I've smiled early in the year or not.
Oh, look at the time. Can we go? Can we go now?
No, We can't. If you notice, my desk is still deep and I need to get ready for the next day. So no, a teacher's job does not end when the children go home.
Thank you for taking the time to talk to me. I have to go home now.
Sure thing, Brittany. See ya. You get to go home, I don't.
Television on.
Oh, hi. My name is Antoine, and this is Anonymous.
Knock knock.
Who is there?
Interrupting Cal.
Interrupting call. Woo! That's wrong. Why did the robot cross the road?
No.
Because he was carbon bonded to the chicken. Yuck, 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 yuck.
What's this?
I don't know.
Nope. I don't know what they are either, but there's a whole flock of them. What's this?
Don't give a care.
It's a damn one of these.
I'm so pumped. Saturday night, I walked in the house. I stepped on one of her cigarettes. She was like, "What happened to the heat and the lights?"
If you don't know the difference between underwear and baloney,
I don't.
I sure ain't No, I'm messed up.
Well, maybe you got a little time. Just like real action. Wait a minute, Sarah. Hold on. Unless you want to get in TV.
Happy birthday. Michelle's paging us.
Hi, guys.
What?
I'm taking you.
Oh,
Freeze. Everybody freeze. Including Cruz. Cruz, you move.
hurry up!
Oh, let me see that. It says press here.
I'm
Have
not
you tried it?
I'm not sure about that, Mike. It might be dangerous.
Michael!
I'm on.
Yes, there's one letter. There's one letter. It says, dear question.
He jacked me up now.
4.
Come on. So what was it like? Can I stay this time on our first mission? I have a major history test tomorrow.
Right. 4.
Can I stay this time on our first mission? I have a major history test tomorrow. Keep going.
We are
Expecting 2 casualties.
expecting a few casualties when the computer shut down.
4.
We are. Make him stick his teeth.
4.
We are expecting a few casualties when the computer shut down, but stop laughing.
5. 4.
We are expecting a few casualties.
5. 4.
Should I call Michael? Sure. Just remember to use the code. What code? 1999 collect. I told you it's 3.
In 5. 4.
You. Should I call Michael? Sure. Just remember to use the code. What code? 1999 collect. Come!
5. 4.
Should I page Michael? Sure. Just remember to use the code. What code? 1999 collect. Where do you girls get this stuff?
Freeze. Go on in the Ryan, or whatever your name is, Derek.
That's a shame, Mr.
And go.
One of the girls from your classroom came looking for Alex at the park today.
Did she see the clubhouse?
Of course not. It was cloaked. All she did was walk around for a bit and call his name.
Ooh.
Cut it out!
You cut. 5, 4.
Cut it out.
You can say it louder.
Cut it out!
Not that loud. 5, 4.
Cut it out.
In 5, 4.
That's so funny. So, what now?
Okay.
Nothing. You just have to be careful in the future.
Morphotron activate.
At least one of these little brats must be done. It's just a matter of time.
Guys, the coach is back sore.
Hey, whoa, you're crazy. This is what I mean. There's easier ways of doing it. Sorry.
How are we going to get him away from her without raising suspicion?
I don't know, but if I approach him one-on-one, I'm sure he'll recognize me.
It's been years since the academy.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think you forget the face that put you in prison. Okay, so what's the plan? Well, most likely he'll try to get her out of here, but we need something to distract him. Coach wants me to help put the equipment away. You guys want to help? This could mean more brownie points.
Yes, are these your friends?
Are you kidding? We hardly know her. Sorry, Miss Grant. We've got work to do.
Ah, my ankle! My ankle!
Oh, let me check that.
My ankle! Ow! Ah!
Seems to be okay.
Ah, my ankle! My ankle! It feels better, Coach.
Okay, Ashley.
Maybe you got away this time, but now I know who you are. This isn't fun.